Red vines taste like plastic with some sweetener on it. Not my cup of tea at all. But this is my cup of tea. Well, hello all my book baes. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to the end of Shorty September, one of my favorite months throughout the year, where you read short books that are 200, 250 pages or less. Right up my alley. Now, Shorty September is hosted by Bert at Pet Storytime and Heather at Soggy Expat Book Nerd. Now, this is my second year participating in Shorty September, and I think I like these books a whole lot more this year. Now, Shorty September had like a little cheat sheet thing, like a little book you put together. I printed mine in black and white, so I just followed the prompts and went through it. So let's talk about them. So for Shorty September, first prompt is read a book in the 70s or 80s, and I chose The Handmaid's Tale. Now, The Handmaid's Tale is very, very popular. You've probably heard of it for years by Margaret Atwood. And I decided, instead of reading the actual book, which was written in, I think, like 1985 or whatnot, I got a graphic novel. And I really did enjoy this graphic novel a whole lot more. I've seen the movie like years ago. So this kind of gave me that visualization for it as well. So this actually fits the prompt also as well of read a book and then watch the movie. Anyway, The Handmaid's Tale is a dystopian book in which you have a very patriarchal society where women basically have no rights and are not valued for anything beyond their uterus. So you have Offred, who is in the commander's house, and basically he does stuff once a month to try to get her pregnant, and she's kind of struggling through that and learning some stuff about the society as a whole. But really good book. I definitely recommend this graphic depiction, especially if you've read, you know, the book itself. But I just thought that this was really good, and you know, it's short, so I like that a lot. Then let's see, the next prompt is read a book then watch the movie. Okay, well, you definitely have that as well, but I also read The Underground Railroad, an interactive history adventure. Now, this is one of those little, is it a middle grade childhood reader? And I read this one along with The Titanic. Okay, and The Titanic fits the prompt of dolphin shorts. Read a book with water on the cover. So definitely have, you know, just a little bit right there, but it fits the prompt. Now, these two books gives you different pathways to follow, and you can figure out how different people fared in this particular time frame. Now, in the Underground Railroad, you had a runaway slave, a slave catcher, and a conductor for the Underground Railroad. And it starts in the South in 1850. Now, this book was, you know, pretty interesting for, you know, younger people, to give them a glimpse into what this institution was about without being so overwhelming. But what I did not like is that it gives the impression that slavery was only a Southern thing. And that definitely, you know, was not true. And then you had The Titanic interactive adventure, which gives you the perspective of a first-class person, a third-class person, and a crew member. So you get to see the fates of all of these people, and you see that it's not just tied to class. But I did find that there was a lot of interesting details that I didn't know. Like, you had a ship called the California that was actually closer to the Titanic than the ship Carpathia that actually, you know, came hours later. But the communication system at the California was down, so the distress signal was actually never received. So I thought that was, you know, very interesting. But good books, worth checking out. Really nice to have maybe the whole series. And the next book is Lodge Shorts, a book you bought because you were trying to look cool. Well, I didn't buy this. I got it from the library, but you have The Keeper 6. The Keeper 6 is like a sci-fi fantasy in which you have this woman named Esther who gets a distress signal, if you will, from her son before he goes missing. And she gets her group of like 5 other people together and go through these different realms in order to find him. So there's a lot of really cool magic and cool world building surrounding like this dragon empire and the world in which Earth is really not that important of a place. So I really did like that, because we always think Earth is the center of the universe, and you know, now you find out it isn't. But you had a really cool, strong female lead who's actually an older woman, so I did like that aspect of a non-traditional lead. There was definitely a lot of comedy in this book, a lot of quick transitions between the comedy and the seriousness, so that kind of threw me off a bit. And I think that a lot of the language used just really threw me off as well, because I had to decipher exactly what they were saying, you know, that sci-fi element. But overall, I thought it was a really good book. But it did have a lot of like plot holes and might, you know, leave you asking questions about certain things, but still worth taking a look at. And let's see, we have, oh, Denim Shorts, a modern classic. Okay, so I read Music of the Night by Angela Ford, which is a book I've been wanting to read for quite a while. This is kind of like a Phantom of the Opera retelling. It's fun, it's fantastical, and is magical. So you basically have this young, destitute woman who is basically staying with a relative at this castle theater type thing, and fears that she's going to be married off to someone if she doesn't learn to sing and take, you know, some lead role. So then she asked this complete stranger who was living in this like supposed haunted castle to give her singing lessons. And then of course, you know, there's a love story. Meanwhile, there's this sort of beast that starts killing people around the castle. Now, I like the story, except that I was just like, girl, you don't even know this guy, and you just go to his house and ask him to give you singing lessons and promises him anything in order for him to help you learn how to sing, and don't even ask what anything is. I just was like, what the hell? That was just crazy. But I did like that, you know, there was this magic kind of tied to Earth, a lot of singing, and, you know, there was some sexiness in there, you know, not too much, not a lot, you know, just a little, but, you know, it did get explicit. But overall, I thought it was just beautiful storytelling that flowed very easily with a lot of imagery involved in it. So definitely worth checking a look, and really, really fun. Then we have... oh, this one's fun. Okay, this is Elizabethan Shorts. Read a historical read. And I got Ice Mermaid. Ice Mermaid is basically about a mermaid who witnesses the sinking of the Titanic, and then she rescues this young black man for this very short-lived romance. Now, what I thought was unique about this book is that I've never seen anything in all my travels with hearing about the Titanic. I never heard anybody mentioning black people, so I thought that was really unique. But you did have a lot of mythological elements. You had this romance to me that came out of nowhere, and this unrealistic portrayal of the actions of like saving people, just totally kind of unrealistic, but it is a fantasy. But I did think that there was a very beautiful expression of family love that was talked about in the book, so that was a really saving grace for me on that one. Then you have Lederhosen, which is a translated book. So I actually have two books for that one, okay? First, you have this manga, okay? You have, do I have it right? My Lesbian Experience with Loneliness. Okay, this is a nonfiction manga about a lesbian that has like mental illness that is basically seeking her purpose and validation with life, including like struggles with affection and taking care of herself. Now, in this book though, there is nothing about her struggles with sexuality, which is, you know, what I had expected based off the title. But there are definitely some triggers about like body mutilation, eating disorders, and depression. But overall, I just thought that it was boring, drawn out, and it did not have a satisfying ending. And these drawings in this book make her look like she's about 8 years old and give pedophilia vibes with some of the content in here. Not my favorite book. I did not like it at all. And then you also have Eartheater. Eartheater is by an Argentinian author, and this has been translated as well. So this also fits for Hispanic Heritage Month, which is what September is as well. So this is about a girl who has a compulsion to eat dirt, which gives her visions of like murdered and missing people. And while she's initially ostracized, eventually she starts to use that ability to help her community and find, you know, other people's loved ones. I thought it was an interesting story, and I thought it was also unique that the narrator was never given a name and neither was the locations. It was kind of left flapping in the wind. But it is a slow burn with no huge climactic action that actually happens, but it's still enjoyable and really emotional in that simplicity, because it starts to make you think about, you know, people you know that may have disappeared and, you know, what may or may not have happened to them, because that's something that happens all the time. Now, I will say, while I did enjoy this book, there was a very graphic sex scene that happened in this book that just kind of came out of nowhere, and I felt cheap in the book and was definitely excess and was not needed. I felt like almost like it was an erotica chapter just thrown in, and that just did not sit well with me. For that reason, I downgraded the book for that alone. Oh, okay. Pedro Pascal shorts, an unexpected purchase. Now, I purchased Crooks, whatever, at a, what was this? This was a Stuff Your Earbuds Day, so an audio book. So Prince Crux is this dragon prince and heir to the throne, and his father basically tells him he needs to go find a mate. So he goes to this psychic, and the psychic tells him where to find this mate at, and it turns out to be this human named Courtney. And she is basically kidnapped by slavers, so he goes there to rescue her. But she is a badass, and she fights with skates, like roller skates. So I thought that was really, really funny. And I love that Cruz come through with the black card, the credit card, you know, cha-ching. And then you have Spanx, a book with magic or witchcraft. Okay, so for this one, I have Thorn Hedge by T. Kingfisher. Now, if you're interested in T. Kingfisher, I actually have an entire vlog where I read a few of her books, so you can check that out and see more about this. But it's basically a fantasy retelling of Sleeping Beauty where, you know, it's not told from Sleeping Beauty's perspective, and you get to see that there's definitely another side of Sleeping Beauty, and it might not be that great, okay? And then let's see. Ooh, Hoochie Daddy shorts. Read a spicy read or revealing gossipy biography. So what I did on this one was I read Around the Way Girl by Taraji P. Henson. And I actually did a complete video about this one as well, because this lady definitely has a lot to say. So make sure you check that out. I'm going to link this in the T. Kingfisher below. And let's see, what are we missing here? Okay, so you have Mom Shorts, a comfort read. Okay, so for this one, I actually have It Will All Work Out, which is a book by Kevin Hart. Now, this is a really short self-help book about recognizing the control monster in your life and how to take control in a positive, constructive, and productive manner. I thought that it was really abstract and, you know, somewhat comedic, you know, Kevin Hart, and it had a lot of sports analogy. I could almost hear him in his voice as I was reading the book, so I thought that was really cool. But, you know, overall, just some common sense stuff in there. You know, it's a self-help book, not my favorite, but I think he did a good job with it. And then the last one is this the last one? Yep, last one is Ripped Shorts. Read a mystery or a slasher. And for that one, I have another T. Kingfisher, which is A House of Good Bones. Basically, you have this woman that moves in with her mother. She starts to uncover a bunch of family secrets that may dabble in the, you know, sinister and the occult. But, you know, it had a little comedy to it, and I enjoyed it. But like I said, check out my T. Kingfisher vlog for more information about that. And that is Shorty September. I definitely enjoy my short books. So I look forward to Shorty September next year, and we'll keep it pushing. So please like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you on the flip side. Bye, y'all.